mean, that's kind of the stereotype of Canadians at the end of the day, is that they're rollovers, and it happens far too often. What could be the cause of that?
Well, there's a lot of things, but it's really, if you're doing well at the current situation, people don't bite the hand that feeds them generally. There is a thing that when there's a thing where something becomes so important, when it becomes an in-gamification, which a lot of manipulation is used by this, the theory of gamification is that once you have epic meaning or purpose, then you can't be bought. That's it. When you or this is why particularly a lot of people with strong religious or moral faiths, I mean, you remember Arthur at the conference, like they tried him all different ways, but you can't. And he said, I've sold myself to God, so you can't buy me. So this is the thing. But you see, this is one of the problems with a lack of moral code, is that people can be bought. A lot of people can be bought. And really, if if the system has got a lot of those people in it, whatever it be, regulating agency or whatever, then you're not going to see people doing the right thing. You're going to see people pretending they're doing the right thing and saying they're doing the right thing. But it really, I have a real strong rule, which is I'll judge a person by their actions. Talk cheap, talk is cheap, really.
So there's a lot of this stuff. I often try to look at the world as more chaotic than organized, because it typically is, right? Everyone has their own incentives. They have their things. You'll point to the World Economic Forum. They have a goal. They want to take over the world, whatever it is. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that everyone in their organization is on the same page. It doesn't mean that everyone in every government is on the same page. Everybody's reacting to incentives, and this is why I'm such a fan of the free market. I see it as like a bunch of different individuals making decisions and voting on what they would like or prefer to have available to them at all times. This is what you're doing when you go to the grocery store and you choose bananas instead of oranges. You're making a vote on these things. But then you have people that are trying to influence these decisions, because they're obviously trying to sell you the bananas over the oranges. So you're buying the bananas because you think that you want the bananas, but somehow you've been conditioned to want the bananas. And this is a weird thing. So so there's been so many times in my lifetime where I'm like, you know what? I really want to get a bike. I want to get a bike, and I want to ride a bike. And I don't know where I got this in my head. And then I turn around and all of a sudden all my friends just bought bikes too. And I'm like, wait a second, why? What happened? Why were we all into bikes, and we all believed that we independently came up with that decision all around the same time? Where does this come from?
Well, there's natural tipping points that happen where somebody just does something and it looks really cool, and then it gets a buzz or whatever. So in terms of, we've actually looked in all the studies around what makes things go viral. It's very interesting. There's certain elements to it. But what's going on now is that a lot of the things that go viral are designed to go viral. They're not going viral from, a natural occurrence. And of course, a lot of the media plays a massive role in that. Now, you touched on something that's really important, is that in a free market, if all things being fair, what's really, really key is that incentives are aligned. When incentives are aligned, then you're going to see people doing good things, regardless, of their true nature, because they're incentivized to do the right thing. But for instance, you take a big pharmaceutical company now, and I asked this question to a lot of people that are trying to defend them. I said, so if a big pharmaceutical company put profits above safety, would that be a problem? Okay. And then they go,
well, I mean, I don't know how many people would answer that profits are better than safety. I don't know. I don't know there'd be anybody that say that.
Well, you'll get people ignore answering the question if they receive funding from the pharmaceuticals, because they know that I'm leading them down a path where they've got no defense. Right. But see, then they go, well, yeah, that's obvious. So the company you're trying to represent, do they have any criminal fines? And then you look them up and there'd be, a huge amount of them. So what you're trying to tell me is that I should trust this company that has a criminal record, that has an incentive, that has this, on what merit? So see, that's the thing about the emotional response. You pound something through propaganda, someone's going to have that emotional reaction, and then they're going to try and reason why they're having that emotional reaction, but they don't know, because it's in there from an emotional perspective. Makes sense? Like,
Mhm.
I mean, when you look at the true beautiful things in life, you know, art and music, all these things, you can't really explain why you like something over another. And that's kind of the mystery and the beauty of a lot of it. But when it comes back to incentives, it's so key. And there's actually a book by a gentleman called Yuri Ganesi, and it's called Mixed Signals. And he's pretty much one of the world leaders as understanding incentives from behavioral science. So if you get the incentives crossed, you're going to see bad behavior, basically. That's what happens. So when, for instance, salespeople get bonuses, you know, for selling something to someone that doesn't need it, then you're going to see that occur.
This was a short segment of a longer conversation I had with David Charalambos of Reaching People. You can watch the full podcast here over on the Do Something podcast channel. Make sure that you're subscribed while you go over there, because a lot of this longer form content will be found on that channel moving forward. More short form content over here as you're used to. We'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.